Mr. Zhao, welcome. Can I ask you, first of all, he's the Chief Cloud Transformation Expert for the Global Digital Finance team at Huawei. I found it very interesting last year at the Intelligent Finance Summit. Jason Tao was there. He presented the case study of ICBC, where they had migrated 90% of their mainframe processing to the cloud.
Yeah.
I thought this was extraordinary, compared with what we see in US and Europe, where the banks are reluctant and the regulators are reluctant to migrate to the cloud. I thought this was incredible progress. Why is China different in terms of cloud adoption?
Okay, I think mainframe holds a unique position in financial industry, because of the high throughput, high reliability. Yeah, but however, traffic are more mobile based. There's a lot of online traffic. So the financial institutions actually are facing high costs, closed technologies, rigid architectures. So I think that's not only ICBC, but some other China banks utilizing mainframe are willing to migrate to cloud. I think there's maybe two perspectives. Firstly, from the business perspective, just like I mentioned, the mobile and online traffic, actually the traffics are changing from transaction-based to engage-based. So there's a lot of unstructured data, not just the structured data like a database record. There's a video, live streaming, voice needed to be processed.
Right.
I think the mainframe is not good at this traffic. The Double 11 festival, right?
Huge numbers, yeah.
Yeah,
huge.
there's cycle queue activities. I think that's traffic that the mainframe cannot handle. So that's why we have some changes in the architecture to deal with this situation. From another perspective, like the openness, cloud providers utilize the same open architecture. Kubernetes, right? It's open source, open, no
right.
vendor locking.
The containerization.
Yeah. And you can find lots of developers and ops in the market, not just the COBOL developers. It's difficult, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All the COBOL developers keep dying on us. That's a problem.
Right.
This is very interesting. No, I mean that makes a lot of sense. That the data sources that we can leverage now, not necessarily mainframe based. That makes a lot of sense. King San and I were talking about the quantum computing developments and where they might affect cloud, but from an encryption perspective. But moving forward, obviously, cybersecurity remains an issue for many banks in terms of thinking about the cloud. Right. Where do we sit in terms of cloud-based cybersecurity versus traditional on-premise security? How would you assess the cybersecurity risks for the different environments, cloud versus on-premise?
In my opinion, I think the quantum computers have not reached the general available yet, right?
Right. Not yet, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not just the hardware. Quantum computers still need some, crack algorithms to handle the decryption. There are some anti-quantum cracking algorithms are under research and development. So I think quantum computing is evolving and the cloud computing is evolving at the same time, right? So I think cloud-based security will have the new approach to handle that. And for the second one, for the cloud-based security and the on-prem one, I think, in my opinion, I think cloud-based security is the right direction because the hyperscalers, they can invest a lot in the security framework. They have a professional service, do the SOC, the operation, define the policy.
Now, the other thing that I noticed in the Intelligent Finance Summit last year when talking about the cloud, but also this is an obvious next step, is the impact of climate change and sustainable cloud operations. We're going to be looking increasingly at the carbon footprint of compute platforms. For example, we've seen a lot of talk about Bitcoin mining and the huge amount of energy utilization it's been using. But from Huawei's perspective, and more generally as a cloud expert, can you tell us how cloud is changing because of the demand for power and energy management?
Yeah, personally, I'm not optimistic about the Bitcoin, but I think the CBDC might be a correct answer.
Right, that's a good one to raise, because CBDC is rolling out across China now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it may resolve problem in cross-border payment, such as transaction speed, risk control, or the complex process of settlement. I think that might be a correct direction. Get back to the cloud computing, about the ESG, sustainable computing, something like that. I think there's some technologies that we can take to reduce the carbon footprint. For example, for the resource tier, like the physical servers, the cooling systems. So cloud data centers, they can be deployed in places with sufficient power and suitable to the climate. In Huawei Cloud, actually, we set up a new data center in Gui'an, China, Guizhou province. Actually, we have leveraging the modular UPS, the well-designed cooling system. Actually, we can reduce the PUE to, remember, it's 1.12. I want to add some additional technologies from the cloud perspective. Yeah. You have different workloads. You can maybe schedule some non-time sensitive workload to the off-peak, like
right.
AI training, batching. You can move them to the off-peak hour.
Well, I know Huawei's obviously made a big entry into cloud infrastructure more recently with Huawei Cloud. But cloud is not necessarily new. We've had players like AWS and others around for more than a decade now. But how are the data centers today that are being deployed different from the data centers of 10 years ago?
Why? Yeah, that's a good question. Huawei is an ICT infrastructure vendor. We have lots of investment in the hardware, in the network storage, something like that, right? Actually, we have some later come advantages. So maybe we can summarize to 4 categories. Okay, first one, we call it multi-domain collaboration. That means traditional cloud is CPU centric. Every workload is orchestrated to the virtual machine or the bare metal. But now actually we have some full stack and full domain optimization. Something like you can leverage the smart NIC to offload the workload to the network, not just handle everything by the CPU, right? So Huawei actually invested the chip to CPU, DPU, NPU. Is extremely enhanced the computing.
So you're not just looking at CPU or hard disk load, which is traditionally what you're looking at graphics load, all of these different elements, right? I get it.
Yeah. Second one is about the experience. So the experience is based on the massive data analysis that you talk about the AI, and we have lots of data-driven and artificial intelligence are utilized to create a ultimate user experience. Huawei Cloud actually utilize we call it convert the data and intelligence platform. That means you can handle the big. You can convert the big data and the AI platform into one. So you can create the innovative applications quickly. The third one is about green. I don't want to explain more because we talked about this a lot.
Right.
Okay.
But that's definitely a driver from a design perspective now, the green stuff, right?
Yeah, the last one, we call it autonomy. Yeah, we have a unified management system to reduce the operation effort. Actually, I think we adopt a concept of avoiding problem proactively instead of responding to the issues reactively, right? So that's why we call it autonomy. It's a low-touch system, right?
Yeah.
So for these 4 factors, we call it a MEGA. MEGA. M stands for multi-domain collaboration. E stands for experience. G stands for green, and A stands for autonomy. So it's called a MEGA.
Mega. Yes.
Yeah.
It's better than MAGA, the American one, MAGA, like the red hats, Anyway, that's excellent. Thank you. Looking over the next 5-10 years, when you're talking to a CTO about the tech stack,
right.
When you look at Ant Group or many of the modern fintechs, the challenger banks like Nubank or Revolut and so forth, 100% of their infrastructure is cloud-based. So this is sort of a baseline for many of the next generation financial services platforms. And banks are obviously integrating cloud, both public and private cloud into their stack. But looking at 5 and 10 years, what percentage of their tech stack should be in the cloud versus on premise? Do you believe? Should it be? Is it 100%? Is it 50%? Or is that not a clear answer?
Generally speaking, I will recommend never to invest in non-cloud field. But before I move all the workload to the cloud, I will evaluate it, because you need to determine what kind of workload you want to move to the cloud. There's multiple factors such as the migration, the technical feasibility. You may have some vendors. Even for some vendors, this application is infrequently used, and even you don't have code, right? We call it technical feasibility. And what's the effort to lift the shift or containerize, or do some refactoring with microservice, something like that. What's the investment and what's the benefit you will get? So you have to evaluate this process. But before that, I think there's a prerequisite. You need to develop a hybrid multi-cloud strategy first. So with this strategy, you can define the cloud journey for each business applications. Like you just mentioned, there's some maybe stateless application. It's very easy to move to cloud, and one with transaction based. You have to ensure the transaction consistency. Maybe you can move it later. You have to evaluate it based on the size of your bank, the investment you can do in the technology area, and what's the skill set of your developers, your IT guys in your organization, right? So I think in the long term, cloud definitely is the direction, but you have to determine the journey yourself.
So,
okay,
Mr. Zhao, thank you again for spending some time with us, and it's a really exciting area, the cloud area, particularly combined with artificial intelligence, and as you mentioned, the ESG opportunities there. We are going to be more and more reliant on cloud moving forward. That's very clear. So thank you for your expertise.
Yeah, thank you.